guys and gals. This is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Morning Edge webinar. We have the ECB meeting minutes. They're being released right now. Inflation risks have increased, are some comments that are coming out of the ECB meeting minutes. If inflation risks have increased, it would be more like probably some deflationary pressures, I would think. They saw uncertainty surrounding China is particularly high, so you know they're following the same risk as the Fed. Now I'm watching the euro. The euro's not doing a whole lot. It pulled back a little bit. Now it's starting to rally at 107.10. Risks of downward revision to inflation projections. ECB Pretz saw oil price effect on core inflation is significant. So see, the risk to inflation is not risk to upside inflation, it's risk to downside inflation, or deflation is a better way to look at it. We're not seeing any huge movements in the euro at the moment. Now it's bouncing around this 107 to 107.10. You can see here's the 5-minute chart. We're just bouncing around 107 and 107.10. Nothing huge here. So they did argue that deflation risk still remains relevant. We'll re-examine policy in December, ready to act if necessary. Okay, so not a whole lot of reaction here, but some notable comments, I guess. Okay, all right. Well, with that being said, let's go ahead and get ready for today. So I'm going to get the bias chart ready, and we'll keep an eye on the see if any other minutes move the market, but it doesn't look like it. So here's the euro. All right, now we've had a pretty choppy go after breaking through this resistance, but the fact of the matter is we've kind of cleared that area. So let me go ahead and delete all this. I'll have to redraw that here in a second. Okay. All right. So here we are. And this is what we're dealing with. This is the kind of the hand that we're dealt with right now. So this is an hourly chart. Now, I guess I should take a step back because I just made an assumption that all of you guys were listening in earlier and you weren't. So when Polly was on, we had talked about a move up towards 108 as being a good area for a short. At least I think, personally, I think that's going to be a great area that, I'm sorry, I'm just kind of looking at everything as we talk. Any move back up towards 108, and this 108 and a quarter, this is all going to be areas for short. My 2 cents is if we break above this red line here, I'm going to go ahead and make it dotted just so you kind of know the significance of this red line right here. As long as we're below that red dotted line, I don't mind being on the short side. We get above that red dotted line, and I'm going to have to look for me and you, we're all going to have to look for a much bigger retracement in the euro dollar. Okay, it's possible. It is. I don't want to say, well, we're no way we're going to make it higher than 108. It's possible, but what I am looking for right now is I'm looking for significant retracements in this leg down. So this leg down, we've already broken higher, if you will. So if you go right to the low, remember the spike low previous to the FOMC meeting minutes. Okay, we basically hit the 50% retracement. So what that suggests to me is this resistance that we have here at 107.20, it's significant. What's even more significant is 107 and a quarter. So 107 and a quarter. I think that's the level we should write down for today. 1.0725. Okay, that's resistance for today, and I think it's going to be significant. Because if we can clear 107 and a quarter, that should expose the move up towards this 107.80. In my opinion, the trend line resistance there. So where's support? So obviously, and I'm going to just point out more of the obvious places today. Support's right here, okay, and that I'm assuming, and let's without making too big of an assumption, but let's take this spike low right there. That is a 50% retracement as well. So you know what's interesting about this move, just in general? 50% retracement has held. And this is not always the case by any stretch of the means. 50% retracement is held here, so that means we're somewhat boxed in, here, right, between this 107 and a quarter and 106.67. So I'll write down 106.65. Okay. And guess what, guys? It's still bearish. And I played it, to the long side yesterday. I mean, it's still bearish currently. As much as you guys want to, as much as you guys are like, man, but it's had a good rally, maybe it's turning the corner. Yeah, but it's still bearish. And while it trades below this yellow trend line, this one way up here, I don't see it changing course much, and matter of fact, we'd in my opinion, we'd have to get all the way back up here to really change the dynamics of the euro dollar. But I mean, you look at it right now. I mean, the euro's surprisingly can't make a move. I mean, we're back to. I mean, look at metals. I mean, gold's coming down, silver's coming down, copper's coming down again. I mean, just weak. Weak commodities, weak euro. I mean, dollar's still holding up really well. So it's hard for me to get really excited about the prospects of a huge euro bounce. The euro's stabilizing down here, and I think there's a lot of two-way action down at these prices. I just don't know if that is a if we really want to get like super bullish at this point. I'm just looking for rallies to short. So and if we get a decent dip today, I might play the euro to the long side. Like I said, I think there's a lot of two-way action around here. All right, so let's go over to the pound. Okay, so the pound. Now we did spike past this resistance. That was before the retail sales. Okay, so the pound is so good at doing this. I mean, we start breaking out. Anybody who is short got squeezed. Retail sales come in weak. Boom, slams us back down, right? Okay. Now, if you look at the daily chart in the cable, trend line, trend line, trend line. Probe above trend line, back below it. I mean, with the assumption now that this move above this resistance here was all a stop run. All of that was a stop run. I mean, how many shorts did we clear out of the cable? Now, that doesn't mean we can't squeeze further, and I am long the euro pound still, as annoying as it is. I'm still long the euro pound. We can still squeeze higher, and I hope we don't, but it's possible. I'm looking at the cable right at this moment in time, and I don't see any reason to trade it at the moment. I really don't. Like, I look at it and like, that talk about like so uninviting right now. Okay, 152 is going to be support here. That right there is pretty clean trend line support. All right, so I'm going to go with that, and I'm going to say 153 is resistance. So 152, 153. Yeah, if you guys want to trade the cable, I think that's your playground. You know, if you get a dip to 152, maybe this is a place where you get long. If you want to get short the cable, I don't know where to do it. Maybe 153, maybe 153.20 when you hit the 618. Not too sure, but 153 rejected or close to. I mean, we went to 90. We went to 93. Okay. But that was before the retail sales, and the retail sales came in weak overnight. So 153, 152, and I'm gonna put the pound back at neutral for today. Okay, back at range because we popped back above this blue trend line, at least temporarily. I'm going to put it back as a range. We might mark it up back as bearish tomorrow, but it's like I said, this one maybe I can highlight it somehow and say just leave it alone. I mean I don't see anything exciting to do with the pound. Daryl said if every trader stopped out trading the pound, breaks his or her laptop and buys a new one, the economy will grow like 10%. Mirko says, I bet you're used to a lot of two-way action. Dude, come on. Well, maybe just with you. Pervert. All right, dollar Swiss. Let's go to the Swissy. All right, here's a Swissy. I'm not long, and I really want to be long, but I'm not long, and I still am hopeful. Now this is hope talking. This is not that's all it is. At this stage in the game is just hope. I hope. Now, keep in mind, there's a difference between hoping when you're in a trade and hoping when you're not in a trade, okay? There's a big difference there. Right now, I'm hoping I'm not in it because I'm not in a trade. I'm really hoping that the dollar Swiss falls so I can buy it. There's a difference when you're in a trade saying, I hope it, comes back to being positive, or I hope it, hope isn't a strategy when you're in a trade. Hope is a fine strategy when you're not in a trade. I'm crossing my fingers and really crossing my toes and hoping that the Swissy will finally pull back, but it hasn't yet. It has not. So anyway. Where am I hoping it's going to pull back to? Well, first and foremost, this is a big deal. When I say big deal, this is the level that we were at before the Swiss National Bank removed the peg. Can you believe that? Can you really believe that? It's crazy, huh? That we are back at levels before the Swiss National Bank pulled the plug on the floor on the Euro Swiss. That to me is pretty amazing. I'm pretty happy with the fact that I got out of the Aussie dollar about 18 pips ago. Pretty happy about that. Okay, so anyway, this 102.40 is huge resistance, obviously huge resistance. Now, I could argue that we're getting pretty overbought here. With the dollar Swiss, I really just don't want to. I don't want to buy it. But I'm like probably most traders. feel that we're going to have to. Clark said, "Not the kissing noise again." You lost your lunch. That's so funny. Um, so I really think that if we break above this 102.50, we're all just gonna, not we're all, but I know I am gonna have to start chasing it. I just really don't want to do that. What I'm hoping for is maybe something like this, okay? That we get an opportunity to buy the dollar Swiss on this channel, and we can buy it again down here at this 1.0080. That's what I'm very hopeful that happens. Okay. Um, Now that's not the support or resistance we have to deal with today. So notice how we're making lower highs. That's interesting, right? Okay, for you head and shoulder pattern people, this is a complex head and shoulder pattern, but it is one, which means, oh hell, maybe we will get to the 1.0080. You see that? Hmm. Okay. That means this support is going to be really important here. Right there. 101.50. 1.0150. Okay. That's support right there, 101.50. And resistance is going to be back at 101.90. Well, we're almost here. I mean, I'll just put it, because this is just an assumption that we're making a head and shoulder pattern. We could very easily just clear 102 and then just hit new highs. So whatever these highs are, it's about 102.15. 1.02. But you notice how, whoops, 102.15. You notice how the wicks are really long up here? Here, I'll have to remove this. Okay, for a second. You see how those long wicks, those are just, spikes above after the FOMC minutes. Those long wicks kind of leave it, vulnerable for a pullback. But excuse me, because there's people actually chasing it up there, I'm sure. But yeah, buying a dip down here would be great if we can have that opportunity. Hoping will be the case. All right, hold on real quick. What's happening here? Everything. Seeing if any of these precious metals are moving. Futures are coming under pressure too. We were just up 60 points. Dow futures are only up 17 now. Just a little heads up. Okay. Let's continue on. Dollar yen. So the dollar yen is still holding. I mean, we're still above 123. I mean, talk about choppy. Okay. 123.60. This is obviously big resistance here. I mean, there's no if and or buts about it. So let me get rid of this. Okay. I mean, this is just, it's really key resistance. I mean, yes, we had a brief spike above, but that was just during FOMC meeting minutes volatility. I mean, that is significant, and I don't know any other way to illustrate that other than putting that there. Now, the question is, why did we stop at 123? And that's another 50% retracement. Interesting. Okay. So Very key support at 123. That's it. And that's key support. If we break through that, you also have to pay attention to equities, because I think if equities are coming, whoops, here, this is bullish, sorry, bullish, this is range, okay. If we break through that 123, I'm assuming that that's going to be I'm assuming that's going to be as a result of uh, downside pressure in equities would be my assumption. Okay. So anyway, all right. So there's the dollar yen. Let's take a look at the Canadian. And by the way, there was a comment that just came in from Jignesh. I'm sorry if I mutilated your name. Hey Blake, there's a bullish bet on the dollar Canadian 1 hour. Not sure if you've seen it. Pattern starts November 11th. November 11th. Oh, okay. November 11th. Right here? No. Oh, sorry. November 11th. Oh, yeah, it'd be right here, right? Here? Which would be the 11th. So, okay. Okay. I'm not a huge harmonics pattern guy, but what you're pointing out is this bat pattern right here, right? That's what Jignesh is pointing out. Now that is, and it looks like it is playing out. Now the question you have to ask yourself is how much lift are you going to get from here? Because I could argue that we're probably pretty close to experiencing the upper end of your move. Okay, so I see what you're talking about. Good eye, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not a huge harmonics guy, but bat patterns are they're Michael in our chat room, he looks at them all the time. And my assumption is coming out of any harmonic pattern, whenever you start to get to a 38% retracement, you got to figure that buy, if you nailed that low here at 132.50, you got to start looking for the exit somewhere above a 38% retracement. So that's if and again, for those of you that are just tuning in, Jignesh was saying that there's a bat pattern right here, right? I'm doing it roughly, okay? So there's a bat pattern right there. And you start getting to that 38% retracement, especially you got a lot of support coming in from under previous support coming in as well. Got to be careful right through here. Oh, he says, thanks, Blake. Didn't get involved yet. Wanted to get your take. I appreciate it. Okay, so look, can I say something really? Can I say something really quickly about harmonic patterns if you don't understand? So shit, that drawing really sucks. Let me try that again. Hold on. Okay, let me try this one more time. I'm just doing it roughly. Okay. So if you looked at that and you go, okay, I see the bat pattern. Great. Tell me where the place to buy it is. You guys tell me where the place to buy it is. Harmonics are very, the thing I like about harmonics is it is a very specific entry, okay? So where is your entry on that bat pattern that you're looking at? Anybody can answer this, I don't care. Right here at 132.50. You have to enter here. You can't enter here. Your risk reward is already, you're already screwed. Okay, you can't be buying here. You have to buy. That's the thing about a harmonics pattern is if you identify one, you buy it and then you put a stop right underneath. So you're only risking, like in this case, you're like, okay, here we go. We're stalling it. That 88% retracement or whatever I was looking at. I'm buying it, I'm putting in a real tight stop, and I'm looking for 20 pips to make 40 or 50. Okay, so if you're buying it now, you're already, the pattern's already played out. That's the, like I said, that's the nice thing about harmonic patterns. the flip side to that is you don't want to get involved too late. You want to buy just as it's getting to that, just as it's hitting that area. That's why whenever I see like a Gartley, I'm real keen to it, because if it's a Gartley pattern, Gartley patterns are, I would say, arguably the most common, um, harmonic patterns. And if we're right at that last point, that's where I'm looking to get long, and I'm not going to wait around, because you can't wait around because your risk reward gets really sideways when you do that. I hope that helps. You know what I just did? I just did training, and I didn't really want to do training, but that's okay. All right, so here's because I just spent a little bit of time, but hopefully that helped some of you guys out as far as like maybe having a better understanding. Okay, so even though we stopped here at 132.44, I'd give it all the way down to 132. You can see it right here. I give it all the way down to 132.25. I'd be a buyer. I told you guys I'd want to be a buyer on this yellow trend line. And I still want to be. Okay, so 132.25. And like I said, I hope that really helped you out, Jignesh, as far as that understanding. I think resistance is going to be here at 133. Previous support, current resistance 133, and we are still in a range environment, so 133.0 range. Okay. When I get back, we're going to do the Kiwi, the Aussie, the dollar index. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back, and we'll continue on. Thanks, everyone. Be right back. Traders, this is Blake Morrow. You were listening to the Morning Edge webinar. I want to welcome you all back. Just really quick before we continue on with the Kiwi and Aussie and dollar index and all that stuff, futures have given up all of their gains. Like I said, when I stepped in this morning, and this is just a couple hours ago, Dow futures were up like 60 points. And you can see we've given back all of those gains thus far. So let's take a real quick look at look at that big red candle. Just something to note. I mean, it's just, how we've relinquished those gains pretty easily. It's not like, it's a little, I'm sure if, you're an equity market trader, it's a little jarring to see that happen. Just things evaporate like that. So just a little heads up. Here's the E-mini futures 4-hour chart. That's not quite an engulfing pattern, but that can be, especially if we drop like another 2-3 points here. That could be an engulfing pattern on a 4-hour chart. So just this is after the squeeze, after the FOMC meeting minutes. 786 retracement too. Yeah, so just a little heads up here. Okay, just worth noting. Where am I? Where we got to go? Okay, we got to go over to the Aussie. Okay, so, and the Kiwi. So let's just start with the Aussie. So here's the Aussie dollar, and we do have to start being really careful now. Jared from our chat room, he said earlier, he says there's a Gartley on the hourly with the Aussie, and what he is talking about is this. So let's draw this out. This is Jared. He tweeted to me a little earlier this morning. So let's take a look here. Let's go over to an hourly chart. Okay, and we're going to zoom in like this, and what you'll notice here is the high to low. Okay, now this spike high here, this is higher than a 618. It's not quite a 786 either. So So it's basically a Garley pattern, pretty damn close. I mean, I would argue that that's pretty close. Problem is this B, the we're at for point B is a little off, but that's but it's you guys get the gist of it, and we turn from there. Which I was not looking at it as a Garley, but I I'm getting a little nervous as we start approaching, this, and this is the whole reason why I didn't want to be long anymore. We're getting really close to this resistance, and this is, as far as I'm concerned, the big kahuna for right now, for today. Okay, the big kahuna is going to be 72 and a quarter. Now I know that seems like it's far away, and I would venture to guess that we're going to have a real difficult time getting there. But if we do, if we do get there, that just note that that is like huge. So at this stage in the game, this is a 4-hour chart. Let's go over to an hourly. You see we're rallying, and the relative strength was in diverging there. So yeah, pretty much tagged the 786 or the 127% extension too. So for right now, we have 7180 is being resistance. After that, I'm going to put two levels of resistance for the Aussie: 7180, 7225, and that is significant. Okay, we are in a range. We continue to be in a range. Whoops. Yeah, and we're holding on to gains pretty well, but I don't know. You got to be careful with it up here. So if we come back under pressure with the Aussie, because one of the things that I know you guys are probably looking at too, like gold's having a hard time even sustaining any type of gains. If gold comes back under pressure, 71.20, probably some decent support down here on the way back. Just to retest that trend line. Okay, 71.20. I'll give it to there, roughly. Let's go over to the Kiwi. Okay, so here's your Kiwi. Hey, this might be flagging. Look at that. Looky there. Now this is a little cleaner than the Aussie right here, which makes it easy to read too for support and resistance, because this right here, see this? That's support. Spike, spike, spike. Almost spike down there. So that's at 65 cents. Shoot, I'm almost thinking about going long here. Think about that for a second. You know what? God, when's the last time I've been long the Kiwi? I'm going along some Kiwi and Aussie here, guys. And the Aussie, I'm not going to give too much room, and then the Kiwi, I'm going to keep stops below 65 cents. I just went long some Aussie and Kiwi here, just to let you guys know. So 65 cents and then 65.45. I know. Doesn't that sound weird? It sounds weird when I say I'm getting long the Kiwi. What? What'd you say? Blake, are you crazy? Yes, Scott. I know the Swiss franc is definitely moving across the board here. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at the dollar index. Okay. Okay. So the dollar index. See how we broke below our trend line support yesterday? That's going to be resistance on any rally now. So any rally back up to 90, 99.50, okay, will be resistance. Excuse me really quick. Okay, so 99.50 will be resistance for the dollar index, and support be at 99.10. Obviously, we got a little double bottom, hourly double bottom that's trying to hold there, but I would assume that this 99.10 is going to be really big support. Okay, let's write that down. Now the dollar, whoops, the dollar is still, damn it, 99.10. The dollar is still bullish, but what we've done is we've taken out a, whoa, what happened there? How'd that happen? I don't know what I just did. Let's cut that. There we go. Okay. Not too sure how that happened. Okay, so dollar index is still bullish. Just the near-term problem with the dollar index is we took out that minor, well, that trend line. I wouldn't even call it a minor trend line. We would call it, we've taken out that trend line. So that exposes a downside move, but it doesn't mean that the dollar index is not, Jay, you're right, I should have used the undo button. That doesn't mean the dollar is not bullish. I think any dip down here to 98.25, that's where we want to be on the long side. Okay? Hold on really quick. Okay. So anyway, the support should be coming in right here at 98.25 or so. That'll be really good support. Resistance is going to be, you know, I mean, this is going to be for longer term. I mean, I'm not talking like today. I'm talking over the course of the next couple of sessions. All right, let's go take a real quick look at the peso. And I didn't even look at these yesterday, so I want to take a real quick look at what happened with the peso and the Nordic currencies. What the hey happened there? Okay. All right, so here's the peso. Let's go over to the hourly. Now, what is up with that? What's up with my data? I don't know what's up with my hourly chart. But here's the 4-hour chart. So ooh, nice hammer. Now, the thing that you have to think about with the peso is that the peso tends to get a lift when there's some risk aversion. So the market has given back all of the overnight gains pretty much. Well, we were up 60, now we're only up 17 in the Dow futures. We were flat just a little while ago and actually went slightly negative. So that is probably the reason why you saw the peso bounce. I'm not going to write this down, but I think it's something that we can pay attention to. Like this. But I don't know what to do with the peso at the moment. What I'd like to do is, you see this daily trend line here? I'd like to trade long off of that trend line when we get there. Okay, that I would like to do, but we're not there yet, and we've still got a while to go before we get there. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the Nordic currencies. Here's the Norwegian krona. The Norwegian krona is holding up pretty well. Below 860. Okay, I'm going to actually write this down because I have a feeling that a lot of people are shorting the Norwegian krona right now, and it's not going down, so that's going to produce a squeeze possibly. But if it breaks below 860, that's going to expose a lot of downside. All right, so let's write that down. US dollar, Norwegian krona, and I'm not trading it yet. All right, support at 8.60. 873 is resistance. And we're bullish, I'm sorry. We're bullish. But just, you know, if we break below here, it's gonna start really, you know, pulling back, I think. I think we could probably see a pullback that looks something like this. You know, we could see a pullback, you know, down to here, something like that. I'm just, you know, kind of free balling. I mean, free balling, free handing it. Here's the U.S. dollars, the Swedish krona. Dave says both sound suspect. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Here is the U.S. dollar Swedish krona. Little double top. There's support. You know what? This is a breakout. These are breakout ranges right here. Because we'll have a double top. Okay, breakdown above here, and it gets really bullish, right? So 876.50. I know you guys are all laughing about the free balling comment. Free handing, and that sounds even funny. That sounds funny too. Support 860. Another 860. And how odd is that? $877 basically. Crazy, huh? Look at this. How come I have a feeling something big's gonna happen here? This is a range, but we can get bullish too. Yo, yes, yo.
Yeah, we've got the 683 I just bought in the euro. 686 is a 61% of this range of 667 to 718 that we just put in, and 683 support. So I just went long, and gold is coming right into support also. With 68.40 is a 61% with 68.90. So I think these are both confluence at the same time. So I think this is a rather very good, reasonable risk reward for a long area in the euro, which may help in your Kiwi and Aussie, because this might be a short-term bottom in here from which we can go and pick up.
Okay, so do you just want long the euro?
Yes, I went long the euro 683.
Maybe I need to start looking at it. Okay, let's take a look here.
Coinciding at the same time the gold is reaching for its 61% of the recent range, and this is actually support here in the gold, and 678 is a 78% of this move in the euro dollar. I'm not worried about it. I'm just going to sit in it and try and let it, you know, work a whole lot higher. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I just went long at 79, so yeah. Or actually at 80. I'm sorry, I bought it at 106.79, 9/10 of a pip. So basically, I went long at 106.80. I'm going to join you here. I don't mind being long a little euro at these
Yeah, this
levels.
whole 680, 683 is a very good, decent area, especially considering that, I think maybe going into Friday we could see a lot more where the dollar longs start to go in and take some of the more and more start to take off their positions, and I think this is probably a pretty decent area for on a pullback on the euro.
All right, cool. Thanks, Paul. Yeah, I just joined you, so thank you. All right. And yes, I just went long a little bit of euro dollar as well. So I own a little Aussie. I bought the Aussie right here at 62. I bought the Kiwi at 16, and it's already starting to bid up a little bit. And I picked up a little bit of euro too. So yeah, I don't mind being long the euro down here. Thanks, Paul, for bringing that to my attention. All right, and by the way, here is your bias chart. Your bias chart is finished. So let me just take the next couple of minutes and answer a few questions. We do have weekly unemployment claims coming out shortly. We do have also